Welcome back to Sweet Devotion. I am your host, Emily Hutchinson, and I'm so glad you're here. You guys, it's 2025. So, with the start of a whole new year and a whole new chapter, I thought with Sweet Devotion, I would show you kind of the ropes. So, I'm going to show you what kitchen gadgets are my favorites, what I use in my kitchen, just to help make your life easier. And do you ever feel like you have so many tabs open in your brain and you feel a little scatterbrained? Okay, me too. I made a decision, a fasting decision, and I'll talk about that at the end and how it's kind of helped close some of those open tabs in my brain and allowed me to get closer to Jesus, to the goals that he has for me in 2025. So we'll talk about that at the end. First things first, we're gonna start with the big dogs. Your KitchenAid mixers, one of the most important tools in your kitchen. Let me explain. So my very first mixer I got, it changed the name of the game for baking for me because I no longer was standing there mixing with a bowl. I no longer was standing there with a handheld mixer with stuff flying around. I could add my ingredients into this bowl and it was gonna mix for me. This just makes your life so much easier. Now this is the classic KitchenAid mixer. It's got the tilted neck. This is your paddle. Your paddle, you're gonna use your paddle for the majority of your mixing. It's what I use for all my recipes unless you're making a meringue or a whipped cream. In that case, you're gonna want to use your whisk attachment. And then the mixers also come with, a dough hook, which is really important when you're making breads. I'm gonna move over to the professional series. If you wanna get super serious and you're baking a bunch of cookies, I would go for this guy. It's got motor that can handle numerous batches. So you can do 2 and 3 batches of cookies depending on what size of bowl you get. So it comes with a 5.5 quart bowl or it comes with a 7 quart bowl. Now this is the most special part about this mixer is the speed feature. And why is that so crazy important? Because this one goes from 1 to 10. So what's the difference? Okay, this mixer starts at half speed. So when I've got all my dry ingredients in the regular classic mixer and I turn it on, first speed is actually pretty quick and the flour jumps out. This mixer, half speed, is so low and slow that your flour is gonna stay inside your mixing bowl. And for bakers, when you have to keep all the ingredients in, having the precise amount of your ingredients is essential that the recipe is gonna turn out, you wanna keep all your ingredients inside your bowl. So KitchenAid mixers, they're not just for baking cookies. These mixers have different attachments. So you just unscrew this front part right here and you can add on an ice attachment to make different kind of shaved ice. You can add a pasta attachment to make your own pasta at home. You can add a meat grinder to make process your own meat at home. There are so many things that you can do with the KitchenAid mixer. You can also use the paddle attachment to shred chicken or make mashed potatoes. There are so many possibilities with the KitchenAid mixers. So pretty and fun KitchenAid mixer, here's your workhorse. You decide. If you can't afford a KitchenAid mixer, maybe you don't have room for a KitchenAid mixer, maybe you have a KitchenAid mixer and you just need something handy. I suggest this handheld KitchenAid mixer. It is my favorite handheld mixer that I've used. It starts out slow at speed 1 and then you gently pulse up and the speed increases to 9. It comes with your standard beaters, a whisk, and a frother attachment. And they all fit in this little pouch, which makes it easy for storage. Next, we're gonna talk about these Melamine measuring spoons and cups from Sonoma, and they are nesting, perfect for storage. I love that these make my life easier. They also have a different feature that standard measuring cups and spoons wouldn't have. The spoons measure up to 2 tablespoons, and the cups measure to 1.5 cups. The 1.5 cup. Why is the 1.5 cup important? The biggest culprit for dry goods is too much flour. Well, how do you alleviate the problem of adding too much flour? Well, you do the spoon and level method, which is spooning your flour in and then leveling it off. But you also, this is a hack. So all of my cookie recipes are 3 cups of flour. So if you use this measurer, you only have to do it twice instead of 3 times the regular cup. And that's gonna lessen the chance of a mistake and there being too much flour. They're very durable, dishwasher safe, dropped them a million times. They've never broken. These are amazing. I've had them for years. Next up is our silicone spatula. This is like my other arm in the kitchen. I use my spatula all the time. I'm always mixing with this, scraping down the sides of my bowl with this spatula. I love that there's a pointed part of the spatula head so it can really get in those corners, and the head can withstand 600 degrees, which is so much heat. It's not gonna crack, it's not gonna melt. Oh, and it's got a stainless steel handle and it's dishwasher safe. Next up, we've got the 7-inch French whisk from Sonoma, which I love this whisk so much. It is durable, it is beautiful, it's stainless steel, and it's going to last you forever. So for me, if I'm gonna have some kitchen gadgets, the spatula is also from Sonoma. I want some things, if I'm gonna invest, I want some things that are gonna last for a really long time. So these incredible tools, you guys, I love them both. If you want the most perfect bottoms of your cookies, I recommend getting the Nordic Ware restaurant grade aluminum baking sheets. These baking sheets, you guys, I have literally, I'm not even exaggerating, I have probably tried every single cookie sheet on the market in pursuit of the perfect bake of a cookie. Now these guys bake perfect every time. The heat evenly distributes. It conducts in such a beautiful way that the bottoms of your cookies are not going to get overly brown. And I found that the darker the cookie sheet, the darker the bottoms of your cookies. I suggest you get these cookie sheets. It's gonna be a game changer for you. These tools are really gonna help jumpstart you in the direction that you wanna go in 2025 with your baking. So I hope that helps you a little bit. All right, so we laid the foundation for our baking, but now let's lay the foundation for our souls. I love what the start of a new year brings, that you got a whole new chapter to write, how you desire to write it. And so for me personally, I've been feeling like a little scatterbrained, like there's a lot of tabs open, and I wanted to kind of close those tabs so I could focus in on what God has for me in 2025. So our church is doing a 21-day fast. And so I decided to jump in on that 21-day fast, but it's not with food. For me, with those open tabs, I thought, what if I stopped scrolling on social media? What if I took that time instead to spend time with Jesus? So every time I catch myself scrolling on social media, and I'm not talking about the Hutch Oven, I'm not talking about connecting with you guys, that is so important. I'm talking about what happens after I do that. When I see a video and I'm like, oh, and then another video pops up and another video. And it's like all those open tabs need to be closed. And so if I stop scrolling, maybe I can close those tabs. Every time I catch myself scrolling, I read a passage from the Bible. And the coolest thing about all of this is that the Lord gave scripture to me specifically in this season. Because a thing that I do, I'm a worrywart, and I really shouldn't worry because God's already got it all laid out for me. I just have to trust him. So he gave me this scripture, and it is in Matthew chapter 8, verse 26. And it says, he replied, you have little faith. Why are you so afraid? Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the waves, and it was completely calm. And so spending time with Jesus, that's what it does to all those open tabs. That's what it does to my brain. That's what it does to the worry. You know, and the scrolling creates anxiety, fear of the future. I have nothing to fear. You guys, thank you so much for joining me on the very first episode of 2025. I cannot wait to see what God's going to do with Sweet Devotion, and I cannot wait to see and hear, because I need you guys to tell me of what God's doing for you in 2025 so far. Leave it in the comments. I want to hear some encouragement. The world is really dark right now. A lot of people are suffering. So how are you being a light? Share that in the comments. I would love a little, I call it a good word. Whenever my kids come home, I say, hey, what's the good word? Tell me something good. Leave it in the comments.